Hello, everybody.
This is it. The inaugural broadcast. We have
How many inaugural broadcasts are we going to have from this room?
Well, I mean, how many shows we got? I'm going to keep on inventing shows. We'll keep on having inaugural broadcast. Every show.
Every show's an inaugural broadcast.
Oh man, I guess I've been running
Yeah,
around.
go
I got
put
that
the
glow.
makeup on.
Make every week Shark Week. Make
I
every
look
week.
like Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon with that glow.
You'll
My
take
body
your time.
knows.
It'll take a second if you want. Hi, everybody. This is September 24th, 2019, the Night Hack Preshow.
Hot googly dig dog, man.
Bryce
It's
Castillo,
all
Brian
finally
Brushwood.
happening.
Andrew Heaton is in-house.
Hello. I'm really excited to be. I'm excited to be staying here and to be on your podcast.
Both of us. Here's what's great. Both of us are going to finish the whole show blind drunk,
Yep.
and then we'll just go collapse on couches, and that'll be
Well,
it.
no, we'll probably do some virtual reality first, and then we'll pass out.
There's been an awful lot of VR.
So for anyone that hasn't lived in Brian Brushwood's studio before, let me tell you what a day is like. I get up and I will make coffee, and literally every morning I'll be making coffee. Brian will burst in and go like, "Heaton, I made a telescope out of bottle lenses, like the ends of bottles that I sanded together, and I'm using it to harness the sun to light a cigar on fire. Do you want to go smoke cigars that somebody sent me that we can light with the power of the sun?" That's like 9:45 in the morning.
I do enjoy our sort of like, it's clear like you're not paying rent, but you want to pay rent, so you pay rent in jokes written in trade. So
Thank God I became a comedian. I finally have a way to.
There was one of these notes. This one here that I found yesterday says, "Brian, I found some loose pills in the drawer. Took them all just to be safe. Can taste numbers. Heaton." In this same scrawl the previous day, it just said, "Dear Andrew, thanks for the best sex I ever had. Signed, a Victoria's Secret model."
Yep. Yeah. No, that wasn't me. That was the young lady that came
Sure.
and stayed over.
Who
But
happened
I
to
wrote
have
the
it
sign,
on your
Brian. It was
handwriting.
signed.
She wanted to be anonymous, because there's a small world of Swedish modeling.
Fair enough.
She's Swedish. Oh, there we go. I didn't think that was a given with Victoria's Secret, but maybe it is. Hello, everybody. We got a good show for you coming up. We got Andrew Heaton, obviously here, Brian Brushwood, Justin Robert Young. Our first night attack from the new studio. We got a special round of apologizes for coming up at you
Oh, hells yeah.
in the game segment of the game. What else?
Dude, it's gonna be pretty great.
Yeah. How's your day? How's your Tuesday? Everybody have a good Tuesday?
Oh man, I've got a story I want to tell, but I think I want to save it for the first act.
Save it for the show then.
Heaton, don't let me forget to tell the story of the guy who came with the window today.
Oh, that poor guy. Yeah, all right.
Stop! Don't tip anything.
No
like
problem.
I think if we fill that out, I think that's a fine 10-minute tale because it's got a whole dramatic arc to it. But in the meantime, both Andrew and I did a talk at, and forgive me, Ashland is doing the Lord's work with this conference, but my goodness, is it hard to remember the name of it? CXMB.
Yeah, it's
what does it
creative
stand
meets
for?
business. It's CMB, but then it's like
XP.
Yeah.
The Creatives Meet Business Experience. So it just
Fancy,
rolls
okay.
off the tongue.
Kimbexip.
CBMXP. At any rate, fantastic. Oh, I have to respond to this. Somebody came to both of our talks. And
the two of us?
both of us, yes. And it's somebody whose channel I really dug and made the list of like, oh my gosh, I have to watch the rest of these. These are really good. In this case, it was a recent thread on Reddit. I think it was called like, why it's so expensive to be poor or something. Bryce, see if you can find it. But they are exactly in the position that I was with Scam School, where that, they have a property that belongs to PBS, but they're the ones with the YouTube channel. So there's, I don't know, a confluence of interests on all that. There we go. Like, and it's really good. They're an amazing, adorable couple.
Let's see here.
Oh, I just realized I could turn on the monitor.
So you overdraw on your account for a little bit, you get a $35 fee. You don't pay that off, you get another $35 fee, right? Quickly those fees add up, and it turns out that it becomes very expensive to have a bank account if you have too little money. So the unbanked is those who don't have a formal bank account.
And so
Wait
these people
a
are in
minute.
town?
I don't think this is the one. This looks like a
Hashtag
different
Bitcoin.
one. Add the word 2 cents on there. Because I think this is a different take on it, and I'm going to turn this down because I think I'm getting echo.
Yeah, you turned it to. Okay, here we go. Why it's more expensive to be poor.
There we go. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I recognize her.
wealthy. But we all have an idea of what it might be like to be a wealthy person. We watch them on TV, we follow them on Instagram, we read their blogs and autobiographies. Unfortunately, that awareness of how the other half lives doesn't happen much in the other direction. Though many of us have probably described ourselves as broke or poor at one point or another, very few.
And so they live in town?
Yeah. I had no idea they were here in Austin. But the moment that she introduced herself, she was like, "Well, if my co-host was here, you would recognize us because he's got that wonderful, awesome mustache."
Yeah.
You've never struggled with real poverty. You might not be aware of the many hidden costs and financial traps that conspire to keep poor.
And so this is a show that they do or a video series that they do for PBS?
Yeah, for PBS Digital.
I see.
But they're in the middle of. So we did. I did my talk. I tried to condense the entire 2-day Wizard Academy class down to just 75 minutes. Talking about how to build a hardcore tribe. Surprise, Diamond Club. You guys are prominently featured in the story. And then you did your talk on what?
I did one called "How to Unsuck Your Podcast," and I rather than,
It starts with stretching exercises.
Yeah. No, so in your case, you're taking this existing body of knowledge and shrinking it. I wrote mine and went, I really hope this is at least half an hour. I have no idea. I put it worked out okay, but it threw me off. I think I mentioned this because usually when I'm in front of a group of people, I'm there explicitly to make them laugh.
Right.
And this time I was there to educate them, and it really freaked me out because it was they weren't laughing, which is probably good. But
in general, professors don't love it when their audiences is laughing the entire time.
If
He's
I were a professor,
no, guys, for reals, time slows down as you go faster. It's not a joke, guys. So you felt good about it?
It was cool. I liked it. It was a neat way to meet some creative people in Austin. Yeah. Oh.
I like that location.
I thought we were getting a phone call for
Is
a
this
second.
Justin
We are.
Robert
Alexa,
Young?
turn on the phone. Alexa.
Hello.
Hello, friends.
Hey, Justin Robert Young.
How you doing, boys?
Hello, boyos.
Soy boys.
Soy boys, it's me, Glaxnar.
How's it going, Juice?
Oh my God, man! Busy day. A lot of stuff going on, man.
What you got going on?
I had to take my birds to the vet. The president's getting impeached.
What kind of birds?
$10 an episode on Patreon.
I love that those are the same breath. Birds to the vet, president impeached. Oh, so we were talking about this before we went live on the air. I am increasingly convinced that Trump wants to be impeached because, number one, nobody impeached ever seems to get removed from office unless they wimp out and jump ship. Second of all, if he were to get impeached today, that would guarantee that all the oxygen would be sucked up with Trump talk for the next 18 months, which I think he would love.
I think the whistleblower is John Bolton. I think John Bolton left and went, screw you. I'm going to bring down the presidency.
Number one, I'm totally with you on the idea that if John Bolton wants to get saucy with this, he is somebody that is in a very unique position to.
He's also the kind of guy that wouldn't just do it and say a mean thing. He would record a couple of conversations on his way out, maybe line up a couple of witnesses, make sure he had something in documentation so that there'd be a literal or an actual smoking gun that he could pull out. Yeah, if John Bolton's associated with it, that's it. It's President Pence.
I have had one interaction face-to-face with John Bolton, and that was on the floor of the Republican National Convention when I was wearing a Charmander onesie. And
was he wearing the same thing? Is that how you guys met?
Not, although he was down there trying to gather reporters to talk off the record or on the record, I guess. I mean, if he's out and out doing it, it was on the record. He wanted to get anybody who would jot down his opinion, because at the time, Trump had made noise that he might not invoke Article 5 of NATO. That basically means that it's only gotten invoked once when 9/11 happened, and basically NATO said, hey, we're on America's side. America's got attacked. But that's basically what it is. Everybody in NATO, if somebody gets attacked.
And he wanted that because there'd been a housing violation somewhere in Pakistan, and he wanted a pretext to invade?
No. Well, I mean, yeah, it's yeah, he's like, don't take it off the table. I need every possible avenue to have a foreign war.
Yes.
Why are we throwing the baby out with the bathwater here? Come on. But Trump had made a noise that he would not do that. And so Bolton was on the floor of the Republican National Convention, finding anybody who would listen to tell them that. And so I just kind of raised my Charmander hand, and I'm like, hey, us too? Can we get John Bolton on the record with BitTorrent News with me and a Charmander onesie? And his press flack was like, just wait. And so John Bolton, all fucking 4 foot whatever of him, in his gigantic
2.5 foot mustache,
his mustache,
his walrus mustache,
walks up, gives one look at me, and just goes no, and just fucking walks away. He would not.
He's a man who seemingly lacks adrenaline. Like I think the best conversation, because I used to hang out with him in the green room back at Fox Business, and the best conversation I ever had with him, it had been like 8 minutes of Camille Foster Kennedy and Matt Welch just railing on him for interventionism and and he came off and I was like, do you ever get the emotions? How does this work? And he's like, nah, I was a litigation attorney. And like that explains everything. He's just completely unbothered. I've never seen the man ruffled before. I think I've seen him ruffled once on TV, and I guess he probably got ruffled when he got fired.
He sure seemed like he got sassy because he was definitely calling when every reporter in DC is all tweeting the exact same thing. That means that John Bolton is sitting there on his phone, copy paste with literally every reporter that he knows. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was, dude, it's remarkable. I half agree with Brian that Donald Trump and his team would not mind. They certainly welcome this impeachment over the Mueller report impeachment, because this is kind of like, and as I will describe in the newsletter that goes out later tonight, it's kind of like when you know a dude who like is dating somebody for like ever, like years, right? And then they break up before they get married. The next thing you know, you get a wedding invitation because he proposed to like the first chick he started dating afterward. That's what this is like. It's like we literally laid all this track and all this groundwork for the Mueller thing. And now like this broke last Thursday. We're not even at a week on this Ukraine thing.
Do you think that this is all the pent up the pent up emotions of the Mueller report? You don't think there's anything to it?
Oh, I wouldn't take. I mean, we don't know. I mean, number one, the answer to that is we don't know. If there's one thing that we learned from the Mueller report is that there's no secret person behind the curtain that knows a lot more than we do. Because when the Mueller report came out, it's like, oh yeah, this is all the shit that we pretty much.
If they ever make a movie of the Trump campaign, the soundtrack the whole time should be yakety sax. Just the whole time. And
now it's like so the latest is the Washington Post report that they've kind of led the coverage on what this is, that like this might be a situation where Mick Mulvaney, the chief of staff, has had this boner to cut like all foreign aid. And so he has been like on the warpath to like, no more, we're out of the foreign aid business. We don't want to do it. And so that might have had something to do with the fact that the Ukraine aid gets cut. Meanwhile, and separately, according to the Washington Post story that says that Giuliani and Mulvaney were not in contact, Giuliani's raising hell in the Ukraine, just doing Giuliani things, which I just assumed to be smoking cigars and getting into arguments with Chris Cuomo, which sound like overheard shouting matches at the Italian Americans men's club.
So quick side jag. I just walked in at the exact moment that you were talking about yakety sax, and I assume Justin is up to speed, and maybe Bryce is, but like I have had for 2 weeks now that Misbehavin' song from the Righteous Gemstones stuck in my head. And
I'm all about. That's all I think.
But the thing is, like
all of the thoughts.
As often happens when you are new to a song, you don't know all the lyrics, you sort of start going. So it's like I remember enough of it that I get to the part where it's like run around the house with a pickle in my mouth, and then it starts to build, and it turns back. It just turns into yakety sax.
You ever do karaoke and someone's like, "Oh, I'm gonna do 1 week by Bare Naked Ladies," and it's like, Good luck to you, sir. Because it's like, oh no, I've listened to it 1,000 times.
Oh,
I'm
no,
sure
we-
you've listened to it
We
1,000
solved
times.
this. There's one song that is in every single karaoke Rolodex, and it is so slow that you don't ever even have to look at the lyrics. You could just make up whatever you want. You've never thought you could freestyle? Guess what? You can freestyle when you have 8 minutes to come up with a rhyme for every single line, and that is the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air's, the Fresh Prince's Nightmare on My Street. It is so unbelievably slow that you could just make up any song. I feel like
No, it's true. It's true. And Brian has a otherworldly fascination with finding out there is like, oh, there's karaoke. The first trigger for Brian is, oh shit, Nightmare on My Street. N-I-G. They got it. They got it. Guess what?
That is the most specific niche, because I feel like most people are like, I really like singing Piano Man, and it's like, right, thanks, like, okay, you're from Earth 2, good for you. That is such a specific thing.
Oh, I don't
have.
like singing it. It's just, in fact, I've only done it once in karaoke. I was just mainly gawking that this weird cultural artifact from 1987 in the hype machine of around Dream Warriors was in full effect.
I did karaoke in China a few years ago, and it was awesome because they it was fun. But beyond that, they were doing half and half of like American stuff that I knew. Like I quite like Neil Diamond, but then they'd have like the Chinese banner hits that I'd never heard before, and all of the background video was just like soldiers sewing, like typing, like it was like all very like lots of soldiers like doing productive things in unit. And I was like, this is amazing. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what they're. I think I know what they're singing about. I think they're singing about China. But all the same though, I'm loving it.
The place I go to in town is a Korean place, and it's got one of those systems where
Nice.
they've got just random stock footage, or there's buttons so you can change it to like a little 3D dancer guy.
Oh, really? So you can
Yeah.
pick the background?
There-
That's
yeah,
cool.
but
I
it's-
would, you know what I would want? I want nothing but 1950s PSA videos. Like the black and white, really crappy, like if you do drugs, your knees will fall off, and premarital sex makes your arms fall off, that kind of stuff, with like some old guy in a hat. That's what I want.
Oh, over on the Harmontown podcast, they got into talking about prog rock, and they ultimately decided that all of it sucks. However, they talked about Styx, and at some point, Jeff B. Davis was saying that I guess Styx does not perform Mr. Roboto in public because they're embarrassed of it. The I guess the
That's
naked.
a wonderful rock ballad.
Well, but it's also definitely a transparent fear of Japanese invasion.
Oh.
I mean, and also, what's the line on mocking when you say "Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto"?
Yeah.
and all that stuff?
One of my friends, a stand-up
just
friend of mine,
what-
Benari. Huh? What were you gonna say, Justin?
I was just gonna say, if I'm going to talk my way out of something being racist, the one card that you have with that song is you really are talking about a humanoid robot. It's called Mr. Roboto. So it's like if you're doing a like Domo Arigato,
sounds Italian to me. I mean, we never say the race of the robot. It could be
Sounds
anything.
like Giuliani, like, well, then where are you gonna get? Where are you gonna get? Of course, Mr. Roboto. Of course, Domo Arigato. What? I just said it.
My friend Benari, he's got a bit in his stand-up routine about how, like, if you listen to the lyrics of Sweet Home Alabama, which is a great song, it's like, and I did not care about Watergate, and you're like, wait, you didn't? How did that, like, we all love the governor, and it's like the segregationist governor, like the lyrics are actually kind of like, huh.
I mean, that song makes more sense the older I get, and you're like, oh, this is just a straight up diss track. Like it is a direct rebuttal to the Neil Young song where he's making fun of of Southern Man, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know that when we all fell in love with the melody, and it's just like, oh, you're saying fuck you, Neil Young. All right.
I feel like that
You
song-
didn't know that? Yeah. No, that Neil Young, as I understand it, Neil Young had a song "Southern Man," and he basically portrayed him
It's
as a
like they're all
racist and a
wife
bad
beaters or
person.
something.
And
It wasn't very flattering of the Southern Man.
This was a Trump anthem long before Trump, man. Yeah.
Although I feel like culturally everything's been in the wash since Kid Rock covered it. Like now that Kid Rock's covered "Sweet Home Alabama" or made it into his other like song.
Yeah,
that's
he did a mashup with the Werewolves of London. He took the
We're
melody
there.
of "Sweet Home Alabama," mashed it up with the backing track of "Werewolves of London."
Okay, that works.
Talked about
Yeah.
weed, and all of a sudden, country people are like, "Oh, so weed." In fact, that song might be responsible for Oklahoma going pro legalization.
well, thank you, Kid Rock. You're saving us a ton of money.
Thank you, Senator.
Oklahoma, like I did a podcast here last week, and I was one of the people happened to be from Oklahoma on it. And we were talking about how like Oklahoma in a week went from like we should hang all drug dealers. They're ruining. I don't care if it's wacky tobacco or heroin. We just hang them. It's what we should do. And like in a week, it was like, can we sell marijuana at the church to raise money for the bake sale? Like it just bam. Like
We'll
when I
call
go
it
to
a baked sale from
baked-
now on.
like Wagner, Oklahoma, where I go, I holiday in Wagner, Oklahoma, and you'll drive in and there'll literally be a giant like evolution is a lie, like which why are they doing it in Wagner? Like why do it in New York? What point is there anyway? They'll do that, and then the next one will be like CBD Wagner, Oklahoma, and it'll be like a big old green leaf, and like it's amazing.
So CBD is in that weird like middle area. I didn't expect this, but we got, and when I'm going to say pushback, I mean exactly 3 comments, right? Because everything seems outside on the internet, outsized on the internet. But we there's a group called Feels that is like, look, if you're going to do the CBD thing, I don't know where we're at. I don't know where the science is at on that. I don't know how much of it is placebo effect. I don't know. It does seem like it certainly stops seizures in kids, and that's good. I would imagine that it's not the craziest thing to believe that CBD oil makes you feel sleepy. So we brought them on as a sponsor, mainly because, Jason was gung ho on it, and so I'm like, cool, man, I'll take your word for it. And but then somebody was like snake oil, and I was like, do you know that? It seems like there's some kind of functional ingredient in there.
There's something to it, right? I could see it like I could see it being overprescribed, or I could see people that aren't benefiting from it using it. But it seems to me there's clearly a group that benefits from it. So
Yeah, take that, CBD haters, CB douchebags.
Man, imagine if you had fish oil supplements.
Do they have hand lotion? Are you selling hand lotion?
Yeah, we did talk about that. My wife got some CBD hand lotion in Vegas, and of course in Vegas there's no incentive to not have it have an awful lot of THC in it.
Yeah.
And so she got very limber fingers and a limber tongue, by which I mean she was very creative verbally.
I'll tell you my embarrassing story. I was in Colorado earlier this summer, and I had a bag of edibles, and then I flew home because my dad was retiring, or not retiring, semi-retiring, and he was having a ceremony, and I flew back, and all the edibles, because it's the summer, they had melted together into a blob. And I was like, I'm kind of tired from all this flying. I'm going to take a bite and go to sleep. And I did, and oh my God, that was and I've tried some psychedelics before, and they were fine. The psychedelics were fine. I was like, all right, Heaton, don't flip out. You've just had a little bit of acid. It's fine. All these people are your friends. The THC, Jesus. It was like planes would go by, and I thought they were coyotes and things. It was awful. I really did not like that at all.
We had a friend who didn't understand the 1 square of the chocolate rule and ate the whole bar.
Oh, wow. Was it Maureen Dowd? Did she just pass out on a bed for like 3 days?
Classic Dowd.
Yeah, man. That sneaks up on you. God, I remember there was some time like that where it was like the end of the night. Man, hopefully I'm not talking out of school. But there was some time where it was the end of the night, and Justin and I each had like a square and a half or whatever, like, good night. And then both of us in the morning walked up, and everyone else in the house, it was like we established eye contact, and it was very clear that both of us were like, still the morning after.
I'm sleeping in the guest room, and all of a sudden, this is how I remember it in my head. Brian in a Kramer-esque slide just kind of like comes into the field of vision, like of the open door, and just looks me in the eye. We have this kind of moment, and he just says the following phrase verbatim. So you've also felt the time quake.
And then I immediately walk out the door, and I'm sure Justin hears this as I walk out the front door, where I just announced to the house, "Bye, going for a run." like I knew there was one activity that I could not be faulted for, and that everything would be fine for 1 full hour. I ran 6.5 miles.
I would love for you guys to remake Reefer Madness just as you see fit. I would totally watch that. It sounds like a great film.
No, it was fucking. Oh god, that was so funny. Like literally, I have two major problems with edibles. Number one, they should never be things that are tasty or binge eatable.
Oof.
Like,
I agree. Like Dorito edibles would be a bad thing.
yes,
Oh, that
Well,
sounds so good.
No, you would die
Yeah,
or
Bryce,
see God.
Bryce, you would be in another planet.
Because what's
you would have
gonna
enough
happen?
THC to make a whale fly.
You're gonna get high, and you're gonna be like, you know what sounds really good? More of this weed food.
Yeah. It sounds fun, don't it, kid? But once you're there, knuckle deep in the THC, and you're debating whether or not to tell your best childhood friend's parents whose house you're staying at that you need to go to the hospital, but you're not going to do it. So you YouTube a video about whether or not you're going to die from THC overload. You can't tell if it's making fun of you or not. You wouldn't enjoy it. That's what I say.
I'm just saying, you want like weed infused oysters, like just something that it's like.
Yeah,
quick,
maybe vegetables, right? Because at the very least, you're eating more vegetables.
Yeah, it's a bad move. Or like make it so weak that you can eat the entire bag of Doritos, or you can eat the entire.
Oh, that'd be cool. Listen, if you want to get high, you have to eat the whole bag of Doritos. Are you okay with
Yes.
that? The only way for you to get high is if you have all the Oreos in a bucket of milk with a spoon. Can you handle that? I can.
Google
Dude,
should do. Google should do like a public service thing where it's like once it detects you type the "can I die from" and you get as far as T, it just says you're fine. It just cuts it off. It's like nobody's ever died from THC. You're fine.
Listen, if I was
Can I
you,
die
I'd
from
be
W?
far more
No,
worried
you
about
can't
the-
die from weed. It's fine.
The amount of hamburgers you eat are much more disconcerting than the weed.
So I once pitched to Brian or whoever was running the Modern Rogue site when it was still churning out like daily stuff. I was like, I want to write one article, and just that I think is like SEO friendly. That it's like, so you've overdosed on edibles, and now your soul has been sheared from your body to forever walk the land of wind and ghosts. Like that very SEO friendly, and just have all the like actual medical things of like, here's what's happening. You can, if you want to do the math, you can figure out how long you'll be high. Otherwise, just hydrate and go to sleep.
Dan33 in the chat is saying that he's hearing an echo. Are you hearing an echo on all of us or just me? Because
Yeah, yes. It's some room reverb. It's not necessarily you picking up on the monitor.
oh no, I'm
but
convinced it's
because-
here. I'll turn off the monitor and we'll see if it goes away.
Well, and also we have more mics on than we normally do, like yesterday or anything. But
All right,
you
so
don't
this
want
is with the monitor all the way off. Is there Dan33? Is there any echo at this point?
More when I'm talking, because it's my talking with that is coming in through the monitor. So if you can hear the echo now, then there.
Yeah, this is all stuff I am working on in the background right now to try and dial
Yes,
in.
let's
but please-
all understand. Let's all understand that this is we're a still evolving process. Unfortunately, we don't have the capacity to take like a week and a half off to make sure that everything's set up.
Yeah,
Bryce said, pull this
Justin's in Sacramento, Brian's in Austin, I'm in Chicago. And so,
That's right.
we're all
It's
in different
amazing.
places
It's a
here.
miracle of science
We don't
that
know where
any of
Bryce
this
is.
is
Bryce,
happening.
Bryce is in some bunker in Utah.
That's right.
We've never even physically met the guy before. This might be some kind of 3D thing.
It's a simulation.
Yeah.
But also it's a reverb issue, not an echo or being picked up from the monitor. So that's
Yeah,
more
Discord.
complicated.
Complain with the right terminology. It's a
Right.
reverb issue, not echoes.
this is the thing. Every studio that's ever been moved into, from major television networks to radio studios, everything sounds better 10 years in than the first time that you're broadcasting from it. So, let's actually make a Discord. If we haven't already made a Discord
it already
for
has
like
been made.
tech notes. Okay, so let's just let everybody throw, whenever there's a tech thing that you have, let's just let everybody know right in there exactly where you can go, just so we can log them, because we do want to make sure that we get that feedback. But just so we all know, let's keep Bryce fucking sane. He doesn't need to be feeling.
That is an
God.
active Discord chat. I've not been looking at it, but man, props to the chatty
yeah,
people
you can
there.
see it over there.
Oh,
you can catch a couple of them.
cool.
It's
yeah,
a Twitch
we're,
chat.
We're trying to figure out like what monitors go where, because there's one of the nice things about being all cramped in is that you could put a billion monitors around, and so everything from being able to, out of the corner of my eye, while still looking at the camera, I could see one of the multiple guests on Skype you know that look that people get when they clearly have a take and they're waiting for their spot.
Yeah.
And at some level, without breaking eye contact with the camera, I can give them that natural, organic opportunity to do that. But right now, previously we only had just the program feed. Now we have the program feed, and we could also, out of the corner of our eye, see what Bryce is teeing up for media to share on there as well. But then, and so that's part of the reason.
Is that monitor what he's going to show in a minute?
That's what he has the ability to cut over to. So,
Okay.
like, if we're teeing up, for example,
We don't need to make an example.
no, let's make an example of Heaton.
Great.
That sex
I'm
tape
not
that
doing
I
it.
finally dug up from the 80s, which I'm proud of. I looked fantastic. Throw it out on E, you miserable TMC people.
TMZ people.
Yeah, I was going to say something else, and I was like, I'll wait till I have another drink before I use that word.
Yeah, so you'll be able to kind of see him teeing all that stuff up. Yeah.
Has anybody commented on my amazing jacket?
No, not enough
Really?
people.
Come on, Discord. I look fantastic. This is a pretty cool smoking jacket. here.
Okay, also, in newsflash, sky is blue, weather is warm.
So what you're saying is all of mankind automatically knows it
Yeah,
doesn't even need to comment
this
on it.
just in, people love the Beatles. Like, the people
Thanks,
love two
Zeus.
things, the Beatles and your jacket.
Excellent.
Mitsula definitely did mention earlier that.
Sorry, Matt is off mic. You're not going to be heard at all.
Okay, should I just not?
Or
Yeah, that's
what-
probably not, because otherwise
Yeah,
all
yeah.
anybody else hears is just me quietly looking
nothing.
at you.
This is great.
But this is one of the things that we talked about. Like when we have in guest studios or guests in studio, like we've spent 10 years training everybody to pipe up constantly in the chat. And then when they get here live, they're like, well, what do? I pipe up.
Nope.
And then it's like, doesn't work the same. Doesn't work the same in person. You can't do that. Did we lose Justin?
He's just walked away.
Oh, okay.
But thank you for all the jacket comments. There were a bunch of those. That was quite. This is wonderful that I can just kind of go, "Hey, validate me," and then there's this whole slew of comments. Great.
Yeah. So, how much longer do you are you? Or do you want to publicly share your travel schedule?
Sure.
Like we never talked about
I
how
welcome
long you're
stalkers.
going to be around.
Yeah. So I'm here for a fortnight. I'm going to be here till October 4th. Then I fly out to LA for 2.5 weeks, and then
And then you make that decision.
Well,
Is
I've
it
got a
down to
little.
Austin
Then I go.
versus
Then I go
LA?
to Nashville, and I'll be at Politicon with Mr. Justin Robert Young, and we'll get into some hijinks. And there's a small chance I'm going to the nation of Georgia. Following
really?
that.
Well, why wouldn't you?
I got invited to give a speech to European Students for Liberty. However, I do not believe they're going to cover travel costs. So I have to kind of figure out here. Okay, is it worth going to me life experience?
Man, if only you had two very good friends who kept you from committing career suicide, but not immediately going to Patreon.com and creating your own crowdfunded.
Oh
ability
wow! Yeah, I could. Could you just do like short-term projects with that?
Sure. Or you can, what you do, okay, look, first what you do is you offer a $50 tier where somebody can own a physical piece of the property.
Right.
Then you upgrade to a challenge coin, and you make
Okay.
that more exclusive. Then you allow people to name a
And
tree
then I
after
erect a
them.
monument in Georgia, in Tbilisi, to everybody that decided to help me get there. And okay, I might do. But then then after that, then I have to make some serious adult decisions, and it's between here in Austin, L.A., and then trying to finagle a way to live in Edinburgh. That's where we're looking.
Oh, man, look.
You gotta live in America just for next year. Then fucking do your weird Scotland
Yeah,
thing.
you owe it to America to stick around for 2020.
I would still be commenting about America. I just wouldn't be in it.
It doesn't work like that, and you goddamn well know it. You're gonna be too fucking interested in Boris Johnson's farts or whatever they're caring about. Everyone's gonna be yelling. There might be new fucking Irish backstop shit. People are gonna be making new Sunday Bloody Sunday remixes, grime remixes. It's gonna be you're gonna be in that, and you're not gonna have your finger on the pulse. And that's what
I
people
beg to
want.
differ. Here's why. Because right now I am so craven internally that when I say something about American politics, I'm like, no, but does everybody still like me? Does everybody? But if I live in Edinburgh, no one will give a shit, and so my social life will not be impacted by my opinions. I think it might liberate me.
Man, I can't wait for 3 years from now when your Patreon is completely unchanged and you realize that you can literally say anything you want. You're going to have 2 pairs of sunglasses on. You're going to have a cigar and a cigarette and a bong all at once. You're like, what's up, bros? That's right. I hate America.
Turns out I can actually trust the audience. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Look, I know you want to go to Scotland, and you can live in Scotland for fucking ever, but we're gonna face a fucking election that has an impeachment in front of it. Like, there's just no way. I can't, as a fellow random political internet commentator, I can't.
We are in the guild.
I'm sorry.
Oops, sorry. Okay, you make a good point.
Also, like, you guys are in a club of 2. Name a third political podcast that doesn't insist that you join a team. Name a third.
God, that's a good point. Yeah. Yeah, wow.
We're it.
I feel like we've got growth ahead of us.
I mean, if you
listen,
leave...
me and Heaton, we're in a gang that we call unpopular.
Yep. Have you been out to Politicon before?
Yeah.
I've been there the last few years.
Really? What should I expect?
We used to sell, or there still will be sales of our card game, The Contender, the game of presidential debate. But I was usually there selling the game. So I've been there for the last 3 years while it was in Southern California. This will be the first time that if when I go out for Nashville, that I'll be there actually like just as a dude and not as somebody selling. But
I'm going out there predominantly to try and scare up guests for my program. I feel it'll be a good way to meet some folks that'll presumably be good doing that.
All right, look, let me throw you a pitch here. I think it's fine to scare up guests for your podcast. More interesting, actually scaring guests.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Jump out and go, blah, you're on my podcast.
I emailed Newt Gingrich because apparently he's a big fan of zoos. And I was like, do you want to come on my podcast, just talk about zoos? I don't want to talk to you about politics. Come on my And he was like gung-ho, and I can't get his people to like make this happen. So if he's there, I'm going to try and get him to do it.
Newt Gingrich...
Just on the zoo tip.
Gingrich messed up one of my gigs because
Newt Gingrich, first he won't come talk to me about zoos, and then he preemptively messes up your gig.
This is back when I was touring all the time, and it's like I would full-on factor in, like you'd wrap everything up, go to bed around midnight, sleep till 4, get up, go to the airport, and you would plan on, you knew you needed, because you had a show the next day, I can get an hour and a half at the airport laying on the floor, I can get maybe another hour on the plane, and I'll be fine for the whatever gig. So in this case, get to the gate, and I'm like, great. And then and I see everybody crowded over there, and I'm like, haha, there's nobody over at gate 7 though, so I'm gonna lay down across all these seats. I'm gonna go to bed, and then I hear somebody sit down. And I'm like, God, sit down. And I open my eyes, and I'm like, it's motherfucking Newt Gingrich.
The speaker of the goddamn
like,
house.
You tell me,
won't let me go the fuck to sleep.
And I'm just like, God damn it, Newt! It's like, you're just there. You're just there. And then somebody shouts out like, don't let him legislate from the bench, Newt. And I'm just like, God damn it, get out of here. Sucks.
Was he trying to sleep too? Was he just
no,
like,
he was writing another alternate reality historical fiction book.
This time the Prussians win.
No, as soon as Brian told his dad to pipe down, I'm trying to sleep. Everything was good with old Newt. Yeah, well, no, he writes historical fiction, right? That's
yeah.
Yeah, he wrote the foreword to that 1 minute after saying, this is a clear existential real threat. We should be afraid of fictional nuclear EMPs that will take out all electronics. It's me, Newt Gingrich. Go Mars.
Yeah, man. I'll bet you he would be... You think Newt Gingrich has ever freaked out on edibles? He seems like somebody that might get himself into trouble.
He's freaked out on them, but just because somebody left them on his table.
I would
yelling about them.
Totally watch that, because I feel like him freaking out would still look very official, where he'd sit down and be like, I want to let you know I can hear coyotes and they can fly. It would be like a very
dude,
he would do it like a press conference.
Newt Gingrich would start a captain's log, and he would begin it. Captain's log.
I remember at the time he was running for president, we were still doing, the show was called NSFW, and we had just begun to pride ourselves on doing no show prep or whatever. And I remember Justin just sent me like a flood of 7 tweets like, he's doing this, and then he says this, and I was doing this, and then he says, he's running his campaign like NSFW. Like he couldn't believe it. It was amazing.
Oh, no, that was, yeah, he went into moon bases and how important they were for the future of America.
I support him on. I'm very pro moon base. I have a record in favor of moon bases.
He was on it, man. Newt Gingrich fucking
If
had
he
it
doubled
cooked.
down on that, I might have been more of a Newt fan. I don't know.
That was the Mr. Romney came to town primary. Good times.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's a great way to fucking spark comedy. Remembering a fucking.
Yeah, remembering Newt.
Remembering Newt Gingrich.
Oh, you mean like Newt Gingrich in the 90s? No, later.
His softer, weirder, lazier campaign for president.
Like, it was only because people really didn't like Mitt Romney that he had traction like well into South Carolina.
Dude, do you remember when people didn't like Mitt Romney? Like, how insane does that seem now?
I remember there was I met a friend of mine's a boyfriend for the first time, and it was during that election, and he says like, "Oh, you know, Mitt Romney, the most like conservative person to ever run for president." And I was like, I literally told my friend, I'm like, "You know, your boyfriend's stupid, right?" She's like, "Yeah, he reads Reddit a lot."
Hey, wait, so Justin, when I go to Nashville, I'm planning on staying with friends. Is there like a lot of shenanigans that happen at the hotel? Should I try and get a room?
So I've never really like done Politicon again, like as somebody who's like networking. Like most of my Politicon
You've
was
just
like,
gone there to sell the cards.
going, selling the game, demoing the game, getting the fuck out, and then like rebooting. So
here's what I'm getting at. I want to both get guests, and also I enjoy a tryst while traveling. And so, like, and I've got this snazzy jacket.
What he's asking is, how open is your relationship?
Well, negotiable. I mean, like anything's possible now.
Okay,
who
great.
knows? Gonna get impeached on Ukraine. The world's turned upside down. Well, yeah, I don't know, man. It's Nashville. Like, you can probably find a fuck nook somewhere.
I think so.
I don't know. I have no plans as of now. Like, I got to figure out a fucking flight and lodging and all that shit.
Yeah.
Is
Did we just get applause?
yeah.
We did.
Thanks,
We did.
whoever sent it.
No, that's Matt. He's clapping for many people.
I got a new phone, and they wouldn't let me download my old soundboard, and the new one has some built-in sounds.
How
I think
bad do they get?
Somebody said they're going to be
It's
in
just these
Nashville
two.
at the same time, and they're going to try and get me drunk. I welcome your advance. Also, I was telling you, there's a young man we know that might hit 21 pretty quick, and I'm going to try and bring him onto my program on the bonus feed. I'm just going to get smashed and give him life advice. I think that's going to be a really good program.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wait, who, they just a friend of yours?
Sure, just a friend of ours who happens to work at a certain warehouse of a certain.
He might be
don't
involved
need
in
to
a
say
modern
anymore,
rogue,
right?
and I was hanging out earlier, and he mentioned he's going to turn 21 in a month, and I was like, sounds like he needs to drop some adulthood on you.
Okay, all right. First of all,
But not-
can we
no,
scrub
hold
that
on,
from
but
the
not in that
internet?
way.
Can we
Nope,
write
not in
to
that
be
way.
forgotten?
It would be legal, but not in that
He
way.
needs to drop some adulthood on you.
I'm just saying. I know that your jacket screams 1819, but it is 2019.
I'm gonna get you real drunk and drop some adulthood on you.
Well, I'm going to get drunk. I don't care what he does.
Don't worry about these cameras. Just to make sure others can enjoy it.
All right, done. I'm through with that. It's done.
Oh my
I'm
God,
just-
sorry.
I'm
All
just
I
going to
wanna do
go
is
home and read
chase this
Aristotle
now.
by myself, dead sober, drinking coffee.
Holy shit. I did not know this. You know that the first episode of NSFW show went live 10 years ago today?
Today?
No.
Today. That's what people are saying. Name that autocomplete with Alex Albrecht and Leo Laporte.
Yeah, I
The
remember.
NSFW show on Twitter.
I remember that night. It would have been, I guess, an hour or two earlier than now. I remember walking outside and taking a deep breath and a big drink of a Miller Lite and thinking like, whew, here it is, gig time. And then and thus began our crazy adventure. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, certainly on Twit, right? It became official. It became a thing that we were like getting paid for nominally.
Yeah. Wow. That's pretty
Correct the mundo.
cool. There it is.
Look at that. And wow, yeah, so 10 years to the day, first episode here in the 7 Acre Wood. How fucking wild is that?
Yeah, man. Tell you what, it's pretty great to have all of this room to work around. And man, yesterday to go live. Oh, I don't think we talked about this. First, we did Weird Things, of course, and then we did the Cord Killers and Spoiler in Time. Then we did the movie draft, so it was already a big day. And then just the internet full on shit the bed. Just shit the bed.
Really?
Shit the bed. How often does this work? You call the cable company to say, hey, my internet shit the bed, and the robot says, are you calling about the fact that your internet has shit the bed?
Shit bed.
We've detected shit bed internet in your area. Is that what you're calling about? And they were like, yes. And they're like, we're working on it. Goodbye. Click. Yeah. So that was
But
not...
it was an outage. It was an outage.
Yeah, but like whether it's an outage at my house level or the neighborhood level, either way, that's a fairly disconcerting thing, right? I mean,
But they can't control if someone runs into a box.
Yeah. Well, I
So-
mean, these box runners, baby, like they're out here and they're looking to fuck your shit up, but good.
these Naruto-looking motherfuckers. Area 51 is the other way. Get out of here. What are you doing?
Get out of here. Stop running into my box over here. It's a nice box, and here you are running full speed into it.
So-
Cable companies got their hands wrung together saying, how am I going to stop it?
So today, Bonnie set up her kiln over at the murder shed, and she got it all set up, and she kept making all of these excuses for why she should wait to fire her pieces later. And I'm like, are you manufacturing excuses? Like, are you just nervous? Like, are you afraid to take this leap into a bold, brave new world of you creating your own art at your own speed under your own terms? And she's like,
Yeah.
maybe. And I'm like, you turn on that motherfucking kiln right now. So her kiln right now is at 1800 degrees out at the murder shed. But she also set up a smoke detector, and they've got this smoke detector that is also an Amazon Echo enabled device. So like if you're going to hook something up to power, might as well also have some rad speakers in it. Might as well also have the ability to treat it like the enterprise computer. And it really is, man. It's awesome. You're just out there and you're like, computer, bring me the funk. And it's like playing the funk. And then there it is. Although, so since it's at the murder shed, I walked out there and I told it to play on a loop spooky Halloween sounds. So it's just out there with constantly the sound of a witch's cackle, and then
Oh my God, just creaking floorboards and the odd mummy.
yes. And then I changed it to the Donnie Darko soundtrack, and Bonnie's like, "Oh, Brian, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "What? Somebody's gonna try to steal your saw, and they're gonna come in and hear spooky minor chords, and they'll be slightly creeped out. I mean, come on, whatever."
Echo, play 10 hours of Philip Glass.
Can I do my only Philip Glass joke for you?
Oh, thank goodness.
Please.
Justin Robert Young, knock knock.
Yeah. Who's there?
Philip
Philip who?
Glass, knock knock.
Who's there?
Philip
Philip who?
Glass, knock knock.
He's repetitive. I get it.
And I like it, but I think it's a funny joke. That's a pretty, you know what, on a scale of Philip Glass jokes, that's a pretty high-end Philip Glass joke. And I like it.
That's a real rib tickler in the realm of Philip
Rib
Glass.
tickler?
You got to do it based on the domain in which the joke is taking place.
Yeah. How many people know who the fuck Philip Glass is?
We just
say-
had an Einstein on the Beach reference on Discord, so you've got a musically literate crowd here.
Oh yeah, hold on. You're gonna offend if you keep calling him Discord. I think that's like a racist thing. This is the Twitch chat.
Oh, I'm
this
sorry.
is the live folks
okay,
on
this
Twitch.
is Twitch. What is the difference between Discord and Twitch?
Two different vehicles. Discord is a persistent chat that's more like Slack that
Oh,
you
okay.
can
So it's-
drop videos
Gotcha.
and links and all that stuff into.
Whereas this is like a live thing.
Yeah, Twitch is
Yeah.
primarily a video feed that has a chat room stapled to the side of it. So they're here for the live video, whereas Discord is more common to just be there for the chat and occasionally, somebody says.
What happens when the show is done? Is this just like kept for future archaeologists, or
Well,
is it,
we it is kept. So it's like if somebody were to link to this episode, all of the chat things off to the side would be saved for that.
and they would see that in live feed as they're watching it?
Correct. So
Cool.
when you go to watch an old Twitch stream, you're watching the feed, but you're also watching the live reactions
Oh,
to
nice.
the
I like
feed
that. That's cool.
as it was at that time.
Well, I learned something today.
Yep.
You goddamn well did, and it's about time.
Uh-huh.
I think so. I still can't get over the fact that you interviewed Grover Norquist at
Burning
It was
Man.
so good.
It was, that was fun. Like we hung out, and he and we're kind of talking. We're doing the pre-interview chat, and I'm like, how do you want me to introduce you? I know you juggle, and he's like, please refer to me as the president of Americans for Tax Reform. And I was like, yeah, cool, I'll totally do that. But like, here's what I want to talk to you about: Burning Man and
Wait,
stand up.
difference between 3 balls and 4 balls.
And he's like, great. And then we'll talk about taxes. And I was like, well, I already talked about taxes. We'll talk about, but like, I really want to talk to you about this stuff. And he was cool. He was very nice to do that. I like getting public personalities and getting them to talk about something that they're passionate about, unrelated to the thing they're known for. That's why I want to talk to Newt Gingrich about zoos.
Oh, you will be able to nail that down. At some point, his handlers will not know where he is, and you will be able to.
No, I just need to start emailing him direct. I mean, I have his personal email. It's just that he was like, oh, you take care of it, person. No, I'll keep hitting him up on that. Yeah. No, I like that stuff. Plus, like when I interviewed Grover years ago, and we went through we was an online video for a group called Cloture Club, and the first part was awesome. We actually had to redo it because I sat down, he sits down. He's the president of Americans for Tax Reform, against taxes, right? Anyway,
Yeah.
I sit down and I go, Mr. Norquist, I know why I hate Texas, but why do you hate Texas? And then it's just dead silent, and Grover Norquist goes, I hate taxes, not Texas. And the producer goes, cut, God damn it, Heaton. And I was like, no, hold on, I know what I'm doing. But like everybody just thought I was a moron. And I was like, no, I did my research here. I read the Wikipedia article.
It's a fucking bit.
Yeah, no, it was amazing. Like I shut down a whole like that guy was so close to not Grover. He was quite nice. The other people were very close to stabbing me. And then I did the conversation with Grover, and he it was standard, all that stuff. Taxes is bad. And then I was like, I heard you juggle, and he went, yeah. And he took me to his office and taught me how to juggle, and then we like wrapped up the interview, and he came back and was balancing a spoon on his nose. He was so excited to talk about something not taxes.
Dude, it was so funny looking at that episode in my podcast reader because it was like Grover Norquist at Burning Man. And I knew that you were at Burning Man. And initially, I'm like, oh, I'll bet you this is a hilarious metaphor for how he thinks of himself at Burning Man. That like, but no, you fucking literally had Grover Norquist on the goddamn podcast in some fucking Bedouin tent talking about comedy.
Yeah, pretty much. No, that was cool. I met the mayor of Menlo Park while I was out there. So like the municipal head of Silicon Valley, and she's going to come on the podcast next week. Oh wow! I was like, thank you. That's okay. This is now tax deductible between the two of you. I can make a pretty good case to the IRS. All right, 2 yes to get out of that. She's cool. I'm looking forward to that too, because actually the first thing I talked to her over the phone, and I wasn't sure she was going to give me her real number or not, but she gave me a real number, and I called her, and I went, I do this program called the Political Orphanage, and she went, well, before we go any further, I should just tell you that I'm so close to forming my own party because I hate the two that we're in right now. And I went, you would love my show. Please come on my program. So it's gonna be fun.
Who's that?
Awesome.
Oh, I've got the mayor or former mayor of Menlo Park coming on my program next week.
That's right.
So it's
she's
confirmed.
in.
She's good. She's just incredibly busy, but she's agreed to come on. And I'm also going to get Judah Friedlander on. Oh, okay, Justin. So you're going to really like this. This is my plan.
Okay.
Is Friedlander, if anybody is unfamiliar with him, if you watch 30 Rock, he's the guy with the kind of trucker hat that's a writer in it.
Yeah.
And he's agreed to come on. This is my plan, Justin, is I've decided that for 2020, I am going to run for vice president. I've decided to run for vice president. I'm not going to run for president. That's kind of a hassle. I feel like I'd have to do a lot, but I think being a running mate would be fun. So it's now my job to figure out who I'm going to choose as my running mate to run for president. And so I'm going to start interviewing comedians based on who I think would make the best running mate for me as vice president.
You should vet yourself. You should just admit something really embarrassing and real about your life, like to.
Man, I'll tell you what. You know what's great about comedians is they're really, really funny and they're up on stage. But man, when they get political, boy, does everybody just get so much funnier. Comedians real good at getting funny when they talk sincerely about politics.
That's why, and I know what you mean. That's why I'm planning on asking him questions as president so I can keep him in joke mode rather than like, let's get into like a deep existential screed about politics.
What do you think it is that short circuits? These are individuals who are masterfully good at being funny and they're masterfully good at telling stories that don't represent their actual viewpoint. But the moment you get on politics, they just can't. They're like the president is dumb and orange, and it's like not your best
I don't
work.
know. You're right, because it is a short circuit. I don't know. There are ways around it. So like in his stand, because I watched Judah Friedlander's special, which is brilliant. It came out like 2 years ago. It's I'm going to say really solid actual political satire. Like there's a bit in it he has. I'll talk to him on the podcast, but he's talking to some guy in the audience from Amsterdam, and the guy brings up like gun statistics and how America kills way more people by guns, and Judah Friedlander just goes, well. Is it that we have more gun crime, or do we just have better aim? And I was like, that's a funny joke. Like I know where he stands on the issue. He's very like anti-gun, but he's very, very funny, right? And then there's a guy named Leo Kurz that I had on the program, a Scotsman. I watch his bit, and like Leo's a very smart guy, but he's doing jokes where like. They're telling us that global warming will rise up by like a foot, which would be really inconvenient for people who can't walk. And so he's doing all these.
He's pointing out that it's not all at once. You got time.
But he's also like he's also kind of easing. He's not trying to be like super smart with it. He's just trying to be funny with it. So there are on stage. I feel like people can kind of do that. But you're right. In interviews, it's tough. You gotta like.
Well, that's also, I did our guest last week, Jack Allison, came on the PX3 podcast, and we were talking about kind of the state of political comedy and specifically late night shows because he used to be a writer for Kimmel, and he was like, when you look at the monologues now, there always used to be the punch out joke, and it was your funniest joke that you could write. It's what you would end on. It would get the energy of the show going. Now you don't have a punch out joke. That same exact piece of real estate is for the earnest message that we all agree with politically, because that more reliably will get you the energy of the crowd going in New York or Los Angeles than risking it on a joke that may or may not land when you're recording. But we are just in this point now where it's like, I always think that usually Republican presidents are better for comedy. I always think that Democratic presidents are the one where political comedy just kind of like shrivels up and dies because nobody wants to punch the person.
We had 8 years where no one would actually make fun of Obama.
The fucking closest thing we got to it was the Key and Peele, hey, Obama's really angry, thing. Which is like, dude, when that's the gold standard, it's like, Jesus Christ, we're not really getting into any kind of character.
He's mad that people don't appreciate what he's doing. But the inverse, though, is that with like I have this conversation all the time when I say that I do political satire, and people are like, must be really easy right now. And I'm like, no, it's not. Here's why. Comedy involves it involves hyperbole, right? Here's the thing, and I'm going to take it to a crazy place. So if President Trump begins the day by going, I will hang Rosie O'Donnell from the bow of Battleship, I'm like, where do I go with that? I don't know where to take that.
You're like, but it's a robot, Rosie O'Donnell. No. Jack Allen definitely went on a 5-minute screed on a pro minimum wage thing, and blood was. I was very well behaved because it was not the time nor the place for me to express I don't know. It seems like two willing parties should negotiate whatever. Never mind.
Yeah, no, there's always a moment where I want to talk to Jack about, because he has this preternatural ability to just get up people's dick holes on Twitter. It doesn't matter who they are. Fucking random people, famous people, both members of the Weekend Update staff. He just fucking lights into them on some level that just gets them pissed off that it's almost, you can set your watch by it, that he'll just say something at 6 o'clock in the morning because he's up early. It's 6 o'clock in the morning Pacific time. Like when I wake up and he's just lighting somebody on fire, next thing you know, it's him screen grabbing and another thread of going into why this person who came back at him is wrong. But there's always that moment where I'm fascinated with that, and I want to talk to Jack about that. And then Jack will go on. He's a very politically opinionated guy. He's a Bernie supporter, and he's very fucking plain about it. That Brian is like, I can watch the restraint. Like, I think
I wasn't getting fired up or anything. I was just like, this is the part where I patiently be courteous and wait until we move to a topic that I should talk about.
It's one of the things that normally somebody mentioning minimum wage is like the doctor hitting Brian on the knee.
I'm
like
that way with tariffs. I wish they were political things that made me more angry than tariffs. Like genocide would be a good thing to be really worked up about. I wish I were that. But when people bring up tariffs, I'm like, God damn it! That we've had fucking since 1776. Fucking Adam Smith. Jesus, we all agreed. You haven't read this.
Hey, should we do the show?
Yeah, I'm feeling really warmed up. I think it's go time.
All right. Let's do the goddamn show. Are we ready to do the show, Bryce? I didn't want to like throw that in your lap if you didn't have it ready. We can
Just give me 30 seconds to make sure we're good.
Yeah, we can give you 30 seconds.
So was he funny? Like when you
he's
got him
great.
on politics,
He's great all the time.
Does he just remain funny?
Not only is he funny, but he's also game for everything.
Okay.
You get some people who are like, I'm here. I don't know why I'm here. I'm trying to promote my book or whatever. But it's like Jack's totally into whatever we're doing. We played a game where half of the answers were Voltron come or Voltron come. So I'm going to say he's pretty great in our book.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Nice.
It fucking awesome. Although I think you would actually like the interview that we did because it was like a comedy conversation of like, why is political comedy just at an all-time low? Like why is like the vanguard of political comedy, Saturday Night Live, literally just having somebody in a bad impression just repeat things that happened? Like, look at me, I'm walking into a room, break for applause.
Yeah.
Like
Nice. I will check that out first thing tomorrow.
Alrighty, yeah, I think we're good to go.
Beautiful.
Also, I want to make sure that everybody knows that Steal the Win, the greatest.
The Bit Boss.
Oh, my God. Who's the bit boss right now?
Steal the Win.
Oh, Steal the Win. Yes. Oh, my God. At 1,100 bits. Thank you very much, Steal the Win. That's fantastic. Also, Steal the Win, we were talking about this before the show. Remember when I said, hey, by the way, we're about to do a show. There's going to be a bunch of people there, but we're really only doing it for one person. It's Steal the Win. We may briefly pretend like we give a rat's ass about any of the other human garbage that shows up. They're all flotsam and jetsam. They're all shit under the bridge. We don't care about a goddamn one of them. Yeah. We only care about Steal the Win. You're really saying that.
When you said that too, you cleaned that sentence up so much more right now.
Yes. It was much worse.
It was 20 minutes
I was
of the
pretty
most
openly
like
hostile
intense,
to literally everybody else.
Hyphenated, like words like fuck muppet. It was amazing. All the stuff that came out of that. It really bothered me.
Then there was that brief moment that I said, also, they don't exist. I will refuse to ever acknowledge any one of them.
Yeah.
None of them exist.
You
The
got
only
into
one
some
who
weird,
exists
like metaphysical
is Steal
stuff
the Win.
where you're not even sure other people do exist.
Yeah.
It was
Okay.
very strange.
Okay, well, I'm glad we're on the same page.
Okay. All right, let's do the show. Come on. Turn this up here. All right, here we go.